Thank you for watching. Like, share and subscribe. Sahih-Bukhari Sharif Book 4 Kitabul Wudu Ablutions Wudu Reference, Sahihal-Bukhari 146-184 in Book Reference, Book 4, Hadith 12-50 USC MSA Web, English, Reference, Volume 1, Book 4, Hadith 148-184 Chapter 13 The Going Out of Women for Answering the Call of Nature Narrated Aisha. The Prophet said to his wives, "You are allowed to go out to answer the call of nature." Chapter 14 To Defecate in Houses Narrated Abdullah bin Umar. I went up to the roof of Hafsa's house for some job and I saw Allah's Messenger answering the call of nature facing Sham, Syria, Jordan, Palestine and Lebanon regarded as one country, with his back towards the Qibla. See Hadith number 147. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar. Once I went up the roof of our house and saw Allah's Messenger answering the call of nature while sitting over 2 bricks facing Baitul Maqdis, Jerusalem. See Hadith number 147, Chapter 15. To wash the private parts with water after answering the call of nature. Narrated Anas bin Malik. Whenever Allah's Messenger went to answer the call of nature, I along with another boy used to accompany him with a tumbler full of water. Hisham commented, so that he might wash his private parts with it. Chapter 16. Getting water carried by somebody else for purification, washing one's private parts. Narrated Anas. Whenever Allah's Messenger went to answer the call of nature, I along with another boy from us used to go behind him with a tumbler full of water. Chapter 17. To carry an anarza, spear-headed stick, along with the water for washing the private parts after answering the call of nature. Narrated Anas bin Malik. Whenever Allah's Messenger went to answer the call of nature, I along with another boy used to carry a tumbler full of water for cleaning the private parts, and a short spear or stick. Chapter 18. It is forbidden to clean the private parts with the right hand. Narrated Abu Qatada. Allah's Messenger said, "Whenever any one of you drinks water, he should not breathe in the drinking utensil, and whenever any one of you goes to a lavatory, he should neither touch his penis nor clean his private parts with his right hand." Chapter 19. While passing urine, one should not hold his penis with his right hand. Narrated Abu Qatada. The Prophet said, "Whenever any one of you makes water, he should not hold his penis or clean his private parts with his right hand. And while drinking, one should not breathe in the drinking utensil." Chapter 20. To clean the private parts with stones. Narrated Abu Hurairah. I followed the Prophet while he was going out to answer the call of nature. He used not to look this way or that. So, when I approached near him, he said to me, "Fetch for me some stones for cleaning the private parts," or said something similar, "and do not bring a bone or a piece of dung." So I brought the stones in the corner of my garment and placed them by his side, and I then went away from him. When he finished from answering the call of nature, he used them. Chapter 21. Do not clean the private parts with dung. Narrated Abdullah. The Prophet went out to answer the call of nature and asked me to bring 3 stones. I found 2 stones and searched for the third but could not find it. So took a dried piece of dung and brought it to him. He took the 2 stones and threw away the dung and said, "This is a filthy thing." Chapter 22. The washing of the body parts, i.e., the parts which are washed in ablution, once only while performing ablution. Narrated Ibn Abbas. The Prophet performed ablution by washing the body parts only once. Chapter 23. The washing of the body parts twice while performing ablution. Narrated Abdullah bin Zaid. The Prophet performed ablution by washing the body parts twice. Chapter 24. The washing of the parts thrice while performing ablution. Narrated Humran. The slave of Uthman. I saw Uthman bin Affan asking for a tumbler of water, and when it was brought, he poured water over his hands and washed them thrice, and then put his right hand in the water container and rinsed his mouth, washed his nose by putting water in it and then blowing it out. Then he washed his face and forearms up to the elbows thrice, passed his wet hands over his head and washed his feet up to the ankles thrice. Then he said, "Allah's Messenger said, if anyone performs ablution like that of mine and offers a 2-rakat prayer during which he does not think of anything else, not related to the present P, then his past sins will be forgiven. After performing the ablution, Uthman said, I am going to tell you a hadith which I would not have told you, had I not been compelled by a certain holy verse. The sub-narrator Urwa said, this verse is, verily, those who conceal the clear signs and the guidance which we have sent down, 2-159. I heard the Prophet saying, if a man performs ablution perfectly and then offers the compulsory congregational prayer, Allah will forgive his sins committed between that prayer and the next prayer till he offers it. Chapter 25. The cleaning of the nose by putting water in it and then blowing it out during ablution. Narrated Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, whoever performs ablution should clean his nose with water by putting the water in it and then blowing it out, and whoever cleans his private parts with stones should do it with odd number of stones. Chapter 26. To clean the private parts with odd number of stones. Narrated Abu Hurairah. Allah's Messenger said, if any one of you performs ablution, he should put water in his nose and then blow it out, and whoever cleans his private parts with stones should do so with odd numbers. And whoever wakes up from his sleep should wash his hands before putting them in the water for ablution, because nobody knows where his hands were during sleep. Chapter 27. Washing both feet, and it is not sufficient to pass wet hands over the feet. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr. The Prophet remained behind us on a journey. He joined us while we were performing ablution for the Asr prayer, which was overdue, and we were just passing wet hands over our feet, not washing them thoroughly, so he addressed us in a loud voice, saying twice, save your heels from the fire. Chapter 28. To rinse the mouth with water while performing ablution. Narrated Humran. The freed slave of Uthman bin Affan. I saw Uthman bin Affan asking for a tumbler of water to perform ablution, and when it was brought, he poured water from it over his hands and washed them thrice, and then put his right hand in the water container and rinsed his mouth and washed his nose by putting water in it and then blowing it out. Then he washed his face thrice and then forearms up to the elbows thrice, then passed his wet hands over his head and then washed each foot thrice. After that Uthman said, I saw the Prophet performing ablution like this of mine, and he said, if anyone performs ablution like that of mine and offers a 2-rakat prayer during which he does not think of anything else, not related to the present prayer, then his past sins will be forgiven. Chapter 29. The washing of heels during ablution. Narrated Muhammad ibn Ziyad. I heard Abu Hurairah saying as he passed by us while the people were performing ablution from a utensil containing water, perform ablution perfectly and thoroughly for Abul Qasim. The Prophet said, save your heels from the hellfire. Chapter, washing the feet when one is wearing the shoes, and it is not sufficient for one to pass a wet hand over the shoes, but one should take off the shoes and wash one's feet. Narrated Ubad ibn Jarahis. I asked Abdullah bin Umar, O Abu Abdurrahman, I saw you doing 4 things which I never saw being done by any one of your companions. Abdullah bin Umar said, what are those, O Ibn Jarahis? I said, I never saw you touching any corner of the Kaaba except these 2, facing south, Yemen, and I saw you wearing shoes made of tan leather and dyeing your hair with hinar, a kind of red dye. I also noticed that whenever you were in Mecca, the people assume ihram on seeing the new moon crescent, 1st of Dhul-Hijjah, while you did not assume the ihram. Ihram is also called ihlal, which means loud calling. Because Amri has to recite talbiyah aloud when assuming the state of ihram, till the 8th of Dhul-Hijjah, day of Tarwiyah. Abdullah replied, regarding the corners of Kaaba, I never saw Allah's Messenger touching except those facing south, Yemen, and regarding the tan leather shoes, no doubt I saw Allah's Messenger wearing non-hairy shoes, and he used to perform ablution while wearing the shoes, i.e. wash his feet and then put on the shoes. So I love to wear similar shoes. And about the dyeing of hair with henna, no doubt I saw Allah's Messenger dyeing his hair with it, and that is why I like to dye my hair with it. Regarding ihlal, I did not see Allah's Messenger assuming ihlal till he set out for Hajj on the 8th of Dhul-Hijjah. Chapter 31. While performing ablution or taking a bath, one should start from the right side of the body. Narrated that the Prophet, at the time of washing his deceased daughter, had said to them, "Start from the right side, beginning with those parts which are washed in ablution." Narrated Aisha, the Prophet used to like to start from the right side on wearing shoes, combing his hair and cleaning or washing himself, and on doing anything else. Chapter 31. To look for water for ablution when the time for the prayer is due. Narrated Anas bin Malik saw Allah's Messenger when the Asr prayer was due, and the people searched for water to perform ablution, but they could not find it. Later on, a pot full of water for ablution was brought to Allah's Apostle. He put his hand in that pot and ordered the people to perform ablution from it. I saw the water springing out from underneath his fingers till all of them performed the ablution. It was one of the miracles of the Prophet. Chapter 33. What is said regarding the water with which human hair has been washed. Narrated Ibn Sirin. I said to Abida, "I have some of the hair of the Prophet, which I got from Anas or from his family." Abida replied, "No doubt if I had a single hair of that, it would have been dearer to me than the whole world and whatever is in it." Narrated Anas. When Allah's Messenger got his head shaved, Abu Talha was the first to take some of his hair. Chapter 34. If a dog drinks from the utensil of any one of you, then it is essential to wash it 7 times. Narrated Abu Hurairah. Allah's Messenger said, "If a dog drinks from the utensil of any one of you, it is essential to wash it 7 times. Narrated Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, "A man saw a dog eating mud from the severity of thirst. So, that man took a shoe and filled it with water and kept on pouring the water for the dog till it quenched its thirst. So Allah approved of it." And the narrated Hamza bin Abdullah. My father said, during the lifetime of Allah's Apostle, the dogs used to urinate and pass through the mosques, come and go. Nevertheless, they never used to sprinkle water on it, urine of the dog. Narrated Adi bin Hatim. I asked the Prophet about the hunting dogs, and he replied, "If you let loose, with Allah's name, your tamed dog after a game and it hunts it, you may eat it, but if the dog eats off that game, then do not eat it, because the dog has hunted it for itself." I further said, "Sometimes I send my dog for hunting and find another dog with it." He said, "Do not eat the game, for you have mentioned Allah's name only on sending your dog and not the other dog." Chapter 35. Whosoever considers not to repeat ablution except if something is discharged or passed from exit, front or back private parts. Narrated Abu Hurairah. Allah's Messenger said, "A person is considered in prayer as long as he is waiting for the prayer in the mosque, as long as he does not do hadith." A non-Arab man asked, "O Abu Hurairah, what is hadith?" I replied, "It is the passing of wind from the anus. That is one of the types of hadith." Narrated Abu bin Tamim. My uncle said, the Prophet said, "One should not leave his prayer unless he hears sound or smells something." Narrated Ali. I used to get emotional urethral discharges frequently and felt shy to ask Allah's Messenger about it. So I requested Al-Miqdad bin al-Aswad to ask the Prophet about it. Al-Miqdad asked him and he replied, "One has to perform ablution after it." Narrated Zayd bin Khalid. I asked Uthman bin Affan about a person who engaged in intercourse but did no discharge. Uthman replied, he should perform ablution like the one for an ordinary prayer, but he must wash his penis. Uthman added, "I heard it from Allah's Messenger." I asked Ali Asper, Talha and Ubay ibn Ka'b about it, and they, too, gave the same reply. This order was cancelled later on and taking a bath became necessary for such cases. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Allah's Messenger sent for an Ansari man who came with water dropping from his head. The Prophet said, "Perhaps we have forced you to hurry up, haven't we?" The Ansari replied, "Yes." Allah's Messenger further said, "If you are forced to hurry up during intercourse, or you do not discharge, then ablution is due on you." This order was cancelled later on, i.e., one has to take a bath. Chapter 36. What is said regarding a man who helps his companion to perform ablution by pouring water for him. Narrated Usama bin Zaid. When Allah's Messenger departed from Arafat, he turned towards a mountain pass where he answered the call of nature. After he had finished, I poured water and he performed ablution, and then I said to him, O Allah's Messenger, will you offer the prayer? He replied, the Musalla, place of the prayer, is ahead of you, in Al-Mustalifah. Narrated Al-Mughira bin Shubha. I was in the company of Allah's Messenger on one of the journeys, and he went out to answer the call of nature, and after he finished, I poured water and he performed ablution. He washed his face, forearms, and passed his wet hand over his head and over the two kuf, socks made from thick fabric or leather. Chapter 37. The recitation of Quran or doing other invocations etc. after Hadith. Narrated Abdullah bin Abbas. That he stayed overnight in the house of Ma'imunah, the wife of the Prophet, his aunt. He added, I lay on the bed, cushioned transversely, while Allah's Messenger and his wife lay in the lengthwise direction of the cushion. Allah's Messenger slept till the middle of the night, either a bit before or a bit after it, and then woke up, rubbing the traces of sleep off his face with his hands. He then recited the last 10 verses of Surah Al-Imran, got up and went to a hanging water skin. He then performed the ablution from it, and it was a perfect ablution, and then stood up to offer the prayer. I, too, got up and did as the Prophet had done. Then I went and stood by his side. He placed his right hand on my head and caught my right ear and twisted it. He prayed 2 rakat, then 2 rakat, and 2 rakat, and then 2 rakat, and then 2 rakat, and then 2 rakat, separately 6 times, and finally 1 rak'ah, the witri. Then he lay down again in the bed till the muaddin came to him, whereupon the Prophet got up, offered a 2 light rakat prayer, and went out and led the Fajr prayer. Chapter 38. Whoever does not repeat ablution except after falling into deep sleep, losing consciousness completely. Narrated Asma bint Abu Bakr. I came to Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, during the solar eclipse. The people were standing and offering the prayer, and she was also praying. I asked her, what is wrong with the people? She beckoned with her hand towards the sky and said, Subhanallah. I asked her, is there a sign? She pointed out, yes. So I, too, stood for the prayer till I fell unconscious, and later on I poured water on my head. After the prayer, Allah's Messenger praised and glorified Allah and said, just now I have seen something which I never saw before at this place of mine, including paradise and hell. I have been inspired, and have understood, that you will be put to trials in your graves, and these trials will be like the trials of Ad-Dajjal, or nearly like it. The sub-narrator is not sure of what Isma said. Angels will come to every one of you and ask, what do you know about this man? A believer will reply, he is Muhammad, Allah's Messenger, and he came to us with self-evident truth and guidance. So we accepted his teaching, believed and followed him. Then the angels will say to him to sleep in peace, as they have come to know that he was a believer. On the other hand, a hypocrite or a doubtful person will reply, I do not know, but heard the people saying something, and so I said the same.